Hi, I'm Bill from CJ Pony Parts. I spend so much time working on my own 96 Cobra that I often forget how old the car is. By Pennsylvania standards, almost all of the SN95 Mustangs are considered classic cars. And like the Fox body before them, there's a lot of common problems that do plague the SN95 Mustangs, and one of them is odometer failure. These gears located in the odometer can go bad over time and your odometer stops working. So today we're going to show you how to fix that problem using this 96 Mustang Cobra. These replacement gears will fit the odometer of all 94 through 98 Mustangs. You have your warm gear and your driven gear. And what happens, the original gears over time, the plastic dries out and they crack and it no longer puts miles on your car. So today we're going to show you how to fix that by installing these new gears. For this installation, we need a T15 Torx bit, T20 Torx bit, small flat blade screwdriver, and a small plastic pry bar. The first thing you're going to do for the installation, disconnect your battery. Then move inside the interior and we're going to remove our headlight switch. Now in our case, we have a billet switch that's held on by a set screw. If you have the factory one, what you're going to do is going to turn it and you'll see a little slot with a metal clip. What you would do is put a little flathead screwdriver in the slot that would be there on the stock one. You're going to push the metal clip away and just pull the knob off. Now once you have that off, there's going to be two T20 Torx screws, one here and one here we're going to remove. And there's small clips on the bottom. Basically what you want to do is pull from the top and it'll pop right off. Now to remove the cluster, there's going to be 4 screws. One here, 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 and here. You want to remove the black screws, not the brass bronze looking ones right now. The black screws will actually get the cluster out of the car. Now again, you can use your same T20 Torx bit or also takes, I believe, an 8mm socket. Okay, now you can pull the cluster out. I kind of want to tilt it at an angle so you can get behind it and unplug it. So we need one plug on each side. A little push pin at the top. And remove the cluster from the car. With the cluster out of the car and on the table, now it's time to disassemble. We're going to start by taking the lens and bezel off. It's going to be 4 screws across the bottom and 4 more across the top. Okay, now we have to disassemble the cluster to get inside of it. So what you have to do is basically these are 3 plates and there's plugs underneath that sit into a socket. So what you have to do is carefully pry them off. Now you want to be really, really careful. You don't want to get like this underneath the face of the gauge because you'll damage it. You have to make sure you get under the plastic to sort of wiggle it and it'll pop off. Now same thing here in the middle. Usually just pop one side and the whole assembly will come out. Let me put this aside for now. Now we're going to be working now with the cluster, with the speedometer and tach part of our cluster face down. So you want to get something soft to put it on, so make sure you don't damage these. If you want to, you can remove them. As long as you're careful, you should be fine. What we need to do is turn this clockwise. So the small screwdriver, just sort of pick up on this plastic here. I'll give you enough room to turn it. This is our warm gear, and as expected, it has some chips missing out of it. You want to take note of basically the gap down here with the warm gear on the motor. Want to make sure when we put the new one on, we replicate that gap. Next, we're going to move the driven gear, which is right here. Again, use a little flathead screwdriver. So we have to get underneath it just a little bit. Then pop it up. You can see we have some damaged gears on here. I did bump it with my screwdriver, but it was already damaged beforehand. Now you want to pick it up carefully. If there's any other pieces, get them out of there. Now take our new driven gear, push that down into place. Use your screwdriver again to make sure it's seated where it's supposed to be. Now the worm gear. Now this will be a tighter fit, so you sort of have to kind of work this on here. Careful not to damage anything. Sometimes easier just to literally push it against this. What I like to do is put the screwdriver in there, so that way your gap's right. Now we'll reinstall this. Turn to lock it in place. And we're ready to reassemble everything. And we're putting it back together. And I should mention, in case you're asking, this has been upgraded to LEDs in here, but if you're considering replacing any bulbs in your cluster or upgrading your lighting, now is the perfect time to do it. Just line this up. Push it back down into place. And the same thing here, just line up the tabs. Don't force it, it'll pop right into place. If you have to push it, you're at an off angle, just straighten it out a little bit. Okay, now carefully line up the bezel and lens, make sure you don't hit anything. I recommend getting them all started before you tighten anything down. And it's ready to go back in the car. Now install it the same way we took it out. Start by plugging everything in. And now reinstall the screws. I can reinstall the trim. Now, if you have the stock headlight knob with a clip installed, you're basically going to line it up and then just push it on. In our case, we have an aftermarket knob. Ours uses a retaining screw. Now you want to reconnect your battery and your installation's finished. As you can see, replacing the odometer gears is very easy and it'll keep us out of trouble. As far as the installation goes, this should take you no more than about an hour, so be back on the road in no time.